Hi, welcome to the 16th program in the Art and Arlington series. In this program, we meet with Ann Black. Ann Black is a longtime resident of Arlington, and she's also a member of the Arlington Center for the Arts. I met with Ann in June of this year, 2017, as she was packing up her studio because, as you probably know, the Arlington Center for the Arts is leaving its current locations, the Gibbs School, and is moving to a location in Arlington Center. Ann is very impressive. I mean, well, all the artists I've interviewed so far have been very impressive, but Ann stands out just by virtue of the number of different media in which she works. I mean, Ann does paintings, she does photography, she works with fabric, she does work with film and metal, she does jewelry, she has published some books, and she's a very good musician. So Ann and I talk about a number of different topics, from just overall philosophy, to why she takes certain kinds of pictures, and what she's planning on doing. So I think you're going to really enjoy listening to just a variety of topics that we cover in our conversation. So as always, I thank you for watching and enjoy. So Ann, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. I'm really excited because I've taken a look at some of your artwork on your website, and it really resonates with me. I love what I see a lot, and I just wanted to meet the artist who created it. And so I'm going to start with the hard question first. In reading your bio, you said that all this helps you realize your own personal vision. So then what have you realized it, and if so, what is it?
Wow, yeah, that's a great question. I think it's always a process, and I think there's just kind of so much going on inside of my head all the time, and the art just, yeah, there's just so many threads to follow, and but I think I just feel it gets to a different level inside when I can work on my art, and when I see things coming out, it's like, oh wow, that's that really resonates with me too, and I feel really happy when it can resonate with someone else as well, and I just feel like everything's interconnected. I do a lot of different things, but it all comes from the same place. Whether it's I'm playing music with a group or with my artwork, I feel like it really gets in deeper because it's really my own thing, and nobody else is telling me what to do. It's really my own visions that sometimes I'm not even quite sure what they're going to be until they come out. So it's not like I start with something that, oh yeah, I'm going to do this or that or the other thing. I just get some materials and tools together that really resonate with me at that moment, and just start playing with it. And a lot of times it ends up being a conversation between myself and that, we just kind of work back and forth, and it ends up, the art piece itself takes on its own life, but it's really, coming from inside of me. So that's very gratifying when that comes out and I see something that is meaningful. So
I got you.
I hope that's
Well, no,
a
no,
good
no.
question.
The answer is
Yeah.
what the answer is. I
Yeah.
mean, so
Yeah.
because as for me, I mean,
Yeah.
I find that it's not so much that I have a personal vision,
Yeah.
as much as it is a personal goal,
Right.
and maybe there isn't a distinction. But
Yeah.
as someone who does a variety of art forms, I mean, video, experimental videos, I mean, some
Yeah.
electronic music, photography,
Yeah.
and a person who has interest in a number of types of sciences, biology in
Mm.
particular. And my goal is just really to learn. I mean,
Yeah.
I just love any opportunity to
Yeah.
learn just about anything, and so that's just a
That's
goal.
that we definitely
I mean,
have the same
yeah,
same idea about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it, but I think if someone were to say, "What's the vision?" I wouldn't map the vision to the goal, but maybe they are the same thing.
Yeah, I think, well, and it's ongoing. Actually, as you were saying that, I was just thinking of a recent experience I had with my music life, but it relates to my art in the sense that I play with a contemporary music group called Dinosaur Annex Music Ensemble, and
Which
so
is a kind of
it's a
oxymoronic name.
yeah, I
Oxymoronic
know
name for
dinosaur. Yeah, right. Well,
but
there's a funny story about how the name came about, but it's a composer wrote a piece for me, and he does very experimental kind of music, sort of improvisation, but he, boy, it's hard to explain. He starts with electronic sounds that he's mapped out from. Now I'm kind of blanking on how he actually did it,
That's
but
good.
he sets up these different kinds of colors and textures, and and actually he's worked out a way that somehow he can use mind, his mind
Right.
stuff to affect what's coming through in the
Right.
electronic thing.
Yeah.
So he's kind of doing cutting edge stuff that way.
Right.
And our concert was at the MIT Museum. But he wanted a viola part with it. So he kind of gave me a roadmap, but basically said, let's work together. So I would react to what he was starting, and then I would kind of go off. And what I found was I was kind of terrified about it at first because I never thought I was good at improvisation.
Right.
But this actually somehow tapped something that was just so, like, I just connected with it right away. It's just like you sort of go into this Zen thing, and we worked really well together. He loved what I was doing, and I loved doing that, and it was a real thrill. And I realized that it actually really related to what I did with my artwork, which
Right.
is basically improvise. I start with some, maybe thoughts that day, or just something, you can't even put words to it really. It's just you're in a certain space at
Right.
a certain time, and then you start working with that. And I feel like that helped me do that music, and it was just like bringing everything together that way. So
Yeah.
that was really exciting.
Yeah,
I hope I
yeah.
can do more of that kind of thing too.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. Because
Yeah.
one of the reasons I like abstract art
Yeah.
is just that it allows you to bring something to the table
Right.
in the experience of it,
Yeah.
and so and even though it may take you in the same direction each time, it's not going to take you down the same
path, exactly.
necessarily each time,
Yeah.
unless you force it, of course.
Yeah.
But that's really why I really enjoy abstract art.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at your website, I saw your abstract section
Yeah.
and really enjoyed the pieces
Yeah,
that I
well,
saw
thank
there.
you.
And I also saw a lot of your photographs,
Right.
and they were very interesting too. I mean, especially some of the cityscapes that I'm going
Yeah.
to pan over
Yeah.
because
And-
on the wall, I mean, here kind of prominent
Right.
is one of a bridge.
Right.
And if I recall, actually I don't recall. I know the bridge is overseas in Europe, right?
And actually, it looks like a bridge, but it's actually a Ferris wheel.
Oh, it's a Ferris
Yeah,
wheel.
it's the largest Ferris wheel in the world. It's
Uh-huh.
the giant Ferris wheel in Vienna.
Okay.
And I was actually in Austria on tour with the Handel and Haydn Society.
Uh-huh.
And at the end of it, my husband and I took 4 days in Vienna because
Uh-huh.
I'd never been there. So
Right.
our first night, we went to see the park where that
Right.
Ferris wheel was. So
Yeah.
I'm taking it from, we're kind of halfway up
Right.
out the window.
Yeah.
I was just so struck by,
Of
you know,
course.
it was just humongous.
Yeah.
It was really fun to be in the middle of it. And
Right.
it was at night, so
Yeah.
the lights and so
Yeah.
I love that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of
Yeah.
shot that I would take. And the reason I
Yeah.
called it a bridge was
Because that's, yeah.
after the earthquake in California
Oh,
back
right.
in 1989,
Right.
I think it was. I mean,
Was it the
and
Oakland?
it was the Oakland
Yeah, yeah, I
Bridge.
have friends out there.
And
Yeah.
so they rebuilt the thing very fast.
Yeah.
And before they opened it up, they allowed people to walk on it.
Oh, wow,
And,
yeah.
and so I got to walk on it, and there's just some really amazing
Yeah.
grit work,
Yeah.
or iron work or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I got to just take a lot of shots, just looking up at the ironwork, and it's like, not
Yeah.
only was it a great shot, but then it's the kind of shot that you realize, what are the opportunities to have a chance to get this?
Oh, absolutely,
Because
yeah.
even though you can walk on the sides of the bridges, you can't
Right,
walk
you
in the
can't
middle.
really get
walk in the
that.
middle and get
Yeah,
that kind of
that's kind of
symmetry.
what this
so,
was like.
and
It was
so,
really,
yeah. So cool. And so I also noticed that you take some wildlife photography also, and what's the draw with that? Or what's the attraction to that?
I just, well, especially birds and water birds. I just love being out in nature for one thing, and I just feel like they're so beautiful.
Right.
And between that and, I also love, I spend a lot of time in Gloucester in the summers. And so, actually not to change, I'm going to back to the birds in a minute,
That's
but
fine.
I
That's
was
fine.
just thinking as far as, even the abstract, and it's never the same from one time to the next. It's even that way with nature, or say I love taking sunrise photos at Good Harbor Beach and
Right.
Gloucester, and it's one of the most magical times of day is sunrise.
Right.
And it's never the same.
Right.
Every morning you go out there and it's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
Even if it's foggy or if it's, cloudy, it's just really beautiful.
Right.
And so I love capturing
Yeah.
that. And it just, somehow the world feels like a really different place at that hour, and there's not a lot of people around, but the people that are around, I think everybody's more kind of meditative and just,
Right.
and people make a special trip to come out and greet the day. Some
Right.
people are doing their Tai Chi or
Yeah.
whatever, but it's just, and then the birds.
Right.
So I think I love the birds in that context, but I made it a mission. At one time I was on tour with the Boston Pops in Florida, and I decided, oh wow, this is a great opportunity. I'm going to rent a car and drive myself around instead of taking the orchestra bus. And I visited as many wildlife sanctuaries as I could. And so a lot of my wildlife photos came from that trip. And I just love that. Every bird has like a different personality and different, the way they act, and I don't know, it was just, it was really cool. Like you'd see a snowy egret and it looked like he had his tuxedo on or
Right.
something, and he was calling across to another
Right.
bird across the river, so it was just fun.
Right, that's interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I hadn't really thought about that aspect of it,
Yeah.
and that actually makes me think that it would lend itself to video, because
Yeah,
the moving
absolutely.
image would actually capture
It would do that, yeah.
that personality.
Yeah.
And there's so many leaping off points of
Yeah.
the conversation I want to go, and let's see if
Right,
I
I
can
know.
remember.
Okay.
And I'm going to try and go through
Okay.
most of them. The first one is just to share something about myself in the sunrise stuff, because me
Yeah.
and a longtime friend of mine, best friend at the time, only reason he's not my best friend now is that he's moved to Brazil and we've kind of lost touch. But that's
Oh,
that's
yeah.
how it is
I
with
know that
guys. I mean,
happens, yeah, I know.
we
Well, it
lose touch,
happens, yeah,
and may come back
yeah.
and be best friends again,
Right.
in 10 years or whatever. But we used to every day try to go and take pictures of sunrises and sunsets.
Oh, yeah.
And we had the flexibility at that time, and so we really
Yeah.
enjoyed doing it. I mean, I just have probably thousands
Yeah,
of
it's,
slides of
yeah.
sunrises, and got to learn a fair amount of astronomy at the time. But also, if I
Yeah.
had to pick between sunrises and sunsets, I would pick the sunrises.
Yeah,
Because as you said, it's
there is
just a
something-
special time of day, and the people who are out then.
It's
and,
really nice,
and,
yeah.
and especially at this latitude where
Right.
the sunrise in summertime can be quite early.
Yeah,
And so you
yeah.
get a big chunk of day, that's still
Right.
very quiet.
Yeah.
But the other part, oh, I forget. Oh, I knew I would. But
Well, I
really
think
coming
I'll jump in, and then
All right.
maybe that'll help remind you of what
All
you
right.
wanted to say. But we did that in the Grand Canyon too. It was on yet another Pops tour that started out in Phoenix, and so my husband and I went out about a week early and went to the Grand Canyon, which also had never really been to. And we made it a mission every day to get up for sunrise and go to some point to be there, and then also sunset. So it was that same kind of thing. It
Right.
was just really special to just kind of celebrate being in a place like that, and the natural cycle of the day, and just be outside and
Right.
experience that. And in a place like the Grand Canyon, which was just amazing. We were always perched on the,
Right.
some point somewhere or other.
Right.
And it even one of them we got all set up, and it was just, we were like, there were maybe 3 of us there, and then all of a sudden a tour bus pulled up with and emptied out. But I don't know, somehow it was easy enough to sort of forget about all that, and
Right.
just you keep the magic of the moment. So
Right.
it was really cool.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so part of the other point was going to go off in a little bit of a tangent, but
Yeah.
but also you are clearly an artist who also is part of your living comes from your art. And so I find it interesting when someone does abstract and kind
Yeah.
of realism art, and I'm just wondering, is there art that you do because you sense that it will appeal to other people, and even though it isn't your favorite kind of art to do, you'll do it? And I put that in the sense
Yeah.
of not so much disingenuous factor
No, I
as much as
understand
it
what
is
you're
like
saying, yeah.
be a DJ, a good DJ
Yeah.
will not only mix the songs that the DJ likes.
Right.
The DJ realizes that be on the dance floor people who like variety of songs, and so the DJ has to play songs that may not be his or her favorite, but
Yeah.
in order to appeal to everyone.
Right.
So you get my point?
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
get your
yeah.
point. I guess I would say that I guess part of the interesting thing about splitting my life between my music work, which actually is the bulk of my living, and then my art, which I do earn money at, but I probably spend as much as I earn just
Yeah.
for supplies and stuff. But
Right.
yeah, I think it may be more in the music side of things that I end up, I'll do gigs and maybe stuff that isn't quite so much fun, but it's a living, and people need your services at a
Right.
party or something. So it's not like it's, it's just not like your own recital or something like that. And with the art and the photography, I guess I felt like I started out doing what I wanted to do, and when I started trying to sell it, it was, people would buy what I had made that I really loved. So I think I attracted the kind of customers that already connected with what I did. So I can't say that I've ever really done, felt like I had to do something even though I didn't really want to do it. I have worked with people that asked for certain things, and I've always enjoyed that process. So in that sense, that's always worked out well for me. And I think maybe just because it is more of a part-time thing and I don't earn my complete living from my art, that maybe that actually gives me the freedom to just sort of restrict it to mostly
Right.
things that I really want to do.
Right. And go ahead.
Yeah, so, and I guess I'm always kind of going off in new directions anyway, so it kind of covers the bases that way.
Right.
So it attracts a lot of different, so maybe somebody wouldn't like a certain part of what I do, but they like something else. So.
Right.
So yeah, I honestly can't say that I have a problem feeling like I'm forced to do something. I mean, not forced, but feeling like pressure
Yeah.
from myself to do something that I don't enjoy. And I would say maybe earlier on I used to do a lot more fiber
Uh-huh.
work, so this is an example of the thing that I used to do. And I did used to make clothing to sell. And I guess I would say that I discovered that production sewing was something that I did not want to do really
Right.
long term. So I ended up not doing that so much.
Right.
Just because it was just so time consuming, and it got to be kind of a chore.
Right.
I'd try to make things, and then if they wouldn't sell, I'm kind of stuck with this.
Right.
Yeah. So that was one place where I did draw the line. But
Right. Well, it wasn't so much stuff that you didn't want to do as much as it is that it was stuff that, or things that you didn't necessarily find appealing. And I know
Yeah.
that might seem like a distinction without a difference, but
Yeah.
just to convey to you, and I'm going to let this go, but
Yeah.
convey to you and the people who are listening to this. Like I also do some experimental videos,
Yeah.
and a lot of times, I'm just going through variations of parameters.
Yeah.
And I put together a combination of parameters, and I like what I see. I put another set of values, and it's like I don't like it so much.
Yeah.
But I put them both on my YouTube channel because
you never know. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
so part of me is like I'm doing
Yeah.
an experimental video to explore
Yeah.
how the combinations come together.
Yeah.
But I also put it out there so that other people can learn and maybe enjoy it. And so I
Yeah.
put out things that I may not necessarily like because it's like, well, you
Yeah.
might like it,
Right.
and so that was really what I was getting at. And
Yeah.
he kind of covered that, but I was just trying to make it clear that I wasn't assuming that you were doing stuff that you
Yeah. Well.
didn't.
Oh yeah,
Didn't-
no,
yeah, okay.
I did get,
All
and
right,
I always think, it definitely is a process, and I think it's really useful to do these things,
Right.
and because you learn from it, and also sometimes I'll come back later and say, oh, actually, I kind of like that, it looks different,
Yeah.
when you look at it with different eyes,
Right.
a week later or even a year later,
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, I can see where that came from, and wow, that's actually
Right.
interesting, and so I think it really is part of the process that you're exploring, and different things come out, and sometimes you'll take part of what you did in something, and it finds a different form, or it morphs into something else later,
Right.
but you wouldn't have gotten there without having done
Exactly,
that. Yeah,
exactly,
so
yeah.
I think that's always part of the process.
Yeah. Well, and on some level, you clearly like working with cloth material because
Yeah.
you're wearing something that you told me you made.
Right, right,
And,
yeah.
and I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I can
Yeah.
kind of see elements. I mean, of some of your abstract
Right,
art
exactly.
in this. Although I could be reading too much into
No, no,
it.
no, you're not.
But as I
It's
scanned
yeah.
out, I mean, it's like I really, really like it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it was fun. I used to do a lot of quilting, and then it got into clothing. And
Yeah.
I have to say that I'm actually probably finding my way back into some form of fiber art again, because now I'm starting to explore painting and printing on fabric.
Right.
And I'm probably going to start doing kind of scarf type things, and
Right.
with sheer fabrics and painting
Right.
on them. So I'm actually looking forward to getting back into that.
Nice. Well,
So, and that's a doable production-wise. And it's a way of using some of my abstract
right.
designs. So.
Well, I encourage you to,
Yeah.
and then I'll check back with you
Oh,
because
great!
'cause, I mean,
Thanks. Yeah,
because
because that's coming.
yeah, great.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm just going to say by way
Sure.
by way of what the viewers see in the background. I mean, they can see a little bit of art,
Yeah.
to the right, and then they see some shelving to the left.
And
I
then a
mean,
mess.
and it's a bit of a mess because you're going to tell us why.
Okay, why? Well, I'm in my last couple of weeks in my studio at the Arlington Center for the Arts, and I've been here since 2004. And the town of Arlington has now needed to take back this whole building, which houses the Arlington Center for the Arts and 3 or 4 other organizations, and they need to turn it back into a school because now Arlington's such a great place to live. Everybody's moving here and needing schools for their children to go to, so the school system is overcrowded. So that's why we're in the process of
Right.
clearing out. And ACA has a new home, but it won't be ready until probably a year or so, and there won't be room for everybody to have a studio there. They'll have a few studios, but it's unclear what that situation's going to be, so we're all kind of in complete crazy transition time.
So now I'm going to pan over to what you have behind you. So I see some of the earrings.
This is some kind of painting on metal, and I love making little things and the colors, and they really, they just kind of took off. I do well selling them to people, and a gallery down in Hyannis, the gallery Art Trio, they love them and they do well down there. So, and I'm just having a great time.
Yeah, I saw some on one of your websites.
Yeah.
And one was a little more three-dimensional.
Right, I have. Yeah, this is just a few, but the gallery has some of those.
Yeah.
And, so that's yet another form that sort of the abstract stuff has taken me in. And,
right.
And I love working with tools and with different materials, so I'm having a great time. I work with aluminum, which is actually a little bit softer and easier to work with, and I'm learning how to heat it and form it, and
cool.
so I'm just having a great time. So
nice. And one thing I hadn't noticed on your website was your publications. So I see a book here.
Yeah,
Illuminative Seasons.
Right.
Spy Pond.
These are all I only have one of these, but I've done a winter book, and then this is a fall book. I take my photographs every now and then. I also make calendars every year. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of just Spy Pond. So after a few years, I decided, I've got all these images that so I made a book.
Right.
And
do you sell the calendars?
I do, yeah.
All right. Well, I have to keep that in mind because I love calendars.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And, so I really do love calendars.
Yeah. And this is, I spend a lot of time at Spy Pond, and I get so many of my images, from just the water movements and the reflections.
Right.
And so that's, it's great to have this all in one place. And sometimes, the calendar is good for the year, and then. Then what do you do with it? So this is a nice way to have everything together.
Yeah.
There's more images. So
right.
It's just really fun.
Well,
so
Well, what do you do with the calendar when the year's over? You keep the calendar.
Well,
when you're a pack rat like I am, you keep the calendar.
And actually, what I've started doing is I'll collage into the calendar part. I'll have my photo, and then I'll start making collages down. So that's fun.
And one of the things I always plan to do, I haven't done it yet though, is that some calendars, the month and the days line up again.
Yeah.
So one of the things I imagine them doing is
you just
it's
change
like
the year.
Well, no. I still get a calendar for the current year, but then I run the other calendar at the same time to just have them side by side. And one you would think back, it's like, well, what was I doing? X number of years ago.
Right.
So let's tell me about other things I see on the table here.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, this, if you want to know what I do when I'm just kind of messing around, sometimes I do a lot of like monoprinting, and it's fun to just kind
Right.
of throw things into a book, and it's like a little artist journal or whatever, only
Right.
no words, just, I'll just put stuff down, and then I'll go back into it and try out another.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a playbook, You
Right.
just sit in there, and it's always ongoing, like, you just start adding things to it at any time. So it's not meant to be anything, it's just like a kind of a workbook, sort of, and
Right.
I just play with patterns, and
Cool.
so yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, like, it's different than the artwork itself, because it's not meant to be like I'll write ideas down, and and at night sometimes I'll like to just sit down and kind of look through it, and you get more ideas, and a lot of times ideas will feed into the pieces that I end up doing
Okay.
later. So it's just a fun, and then sometimes you need to like roll off your brayer too, get some color off of your brayer. So you just kind of stick that down like that.
I'm sorry, color off of your what?
Like a roller.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then that's just like it's getting color down on the page, and then later like I add patterns
Cool.
and stamp on it, and it just like it's just a great way to kind of.
It is an interesting concept.
Yeah.
So,
It's
because,
like,
go ahead.
oh, it's kind of like instead of a coloring book, I kind of make my own,
Right.
Yeah,
I'm beginning
so-
to get it now because
yeah,
I'd
yeah.
seen the monoprint
Yeah.
on your
Right.
website, and even though you had an explanation for it, I
Yeah.
still didn't quite get it. And I was going to ask you about this. I'm
About
glad.
that, yeah, I
you-
wish I had. What I do is I actually now make my own. You have gelatin plates, like
Yeah.
you can basically mix Jello, like unflavored gelatin, but you can add glycerin to it, and it makes this nice plate,
Uh-huh.
like that's like that thick, and you can make it any size depending on what container you actually make it in.
Uh-huh.
And it gives a kind of sturdy, but there's some give to it, so
Right.
it takes paint really well.
Uh-huh.
And then it releases the paint to the paper really
Right.
well. So it's really fun to, do that, and then you can come back and put more layers on later and,
Right.
and work with it. So that's actually the covers of these books came from monoprinted cardstock.
Uh-huh. Nice.
You can put things on the plate, and then when you leave your paint on the plate and then just add more, it gets all this texture.
Right.
So I have, piles of these. It's really fun.
Right.
And then this is my newest book, actually, made completely from monoprints. Like in the winter when it's really gray and there's no color and you want spring to come, you
Right.
just kind of make your own spring.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's just, I took my monoprints, and sometimes I like to then scan them into the computer, and I can keep, I'll do blending. I'll blend one or two of them together.
Right.
I mean, two or three or whatever, in Photoshop, and
Right.
kind of make digital paintings out of
Yeah.
my own.
Yeah. Right.
So it's a hybrid
Right.
type of thing. So it's a blast. 'Cause it's great what you can do now with
Isn't it?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean I do that with my photography too.
Yeah.
But like a lot of things on the wall. But these are all paintings
Right.
that
Right.
I've done. So that's new. But
Right.
yeah, actually, as far as the hybrid or the blending things together, these things right here are all that as well, and that. I've blended different photos
Right.
together,
Cool.
and
That's right up my alley.
yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this one was all from Reflections at Spy Pond.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and there's in Photoshop you can do things like you can turn a positive into kind
Right.
of like a negative type
Yeah.
thing, and then you can blend different things together in
Right.
different ways that bring out different colors.
Right.
So it's really
Yeah.
really fun.
Oh, it is. It is. I play around with Photoshop a lot.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot about
Yeah.
it before I really let myself loose
Yeah.
with exploration of what I can do. So
Yeah.
so
And then
go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
So this one in New York, this is definitely a blending of like probably 5 or 6 or 7 different images. That it just, to me, my idea with this was that it just summed up the complete frenetic,
right.
the feeling that you have and energy
Right.
in New York. I mean, a lot of this was reflections, either looking out scenes
Right.
that I saw from a diner, I was
Yeah.
having breakfast,
Yeah.
and then sometimes reflections in the window.
Right.
And then I worked in the Central Park trees. But
Right.
and then the bus going by full of a painted on
Right.
advertisement on the bus. So
Yeah.
it just to me it really summed it all up.
You know, and I totally get it, and I can
Yeah.
understand how some people go like this is nonsensical. It's just too
Yeah,
much.
right, right, right.
Why not just give me one layer, or maybe just
Yeah.
two? And I'll tell you an experience that I had recently. When I go to the gym,
Yeah.
you sometimes never know what music you're going to hear.
Yeah, right.
It really depends on who is working there.
Right.
And at this one gym, one of the kids will play this channel, that has like smash mixes
Oh,
of music,
wow, yeah.
and essentially it's usually just two songs on top of each other, and maybe
Oh,
sometimes
that's
three.
really cool,
And,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
if you'd ask me, would you like listening to that? I go no,
Right.
because I like
Right.
one of the songs, or I like
Yeah.
both of the songs. I want to hear them for what they are. But
But then
you kind of
Yeah.
find your brain just kind of
takes it in a different way.
it takes a
yeah.
different way. It's
Yeah.
like listening to both of them in a funny way.
Yeah.
And then when you're listening to just one song at a time, it's almost as if it's kind of boring.
Yeah, I know what you mean,
And it's like, and it's not only that it's kind of boring, but it's also like, it's kind of like almost lazy, like it's like
Yeah.
my brain's not working
Right.
like it
'Cause-
can. It's like I'm going slow. Here's a better
Yeah.
analogy. It's like I'm going slow now instead of
right.
going 80 miles per hour, which really
Right.
requires concentration. I'm going 40, and
Yeah.
now I'm bored. And then the last
Yeah,
time
right,
I had
right.
some experiences when I was in Canada. And I have a little bit of French, but I don't speak it really well.
Yeah.
And when I was in Montreal, they had both languages, and it was just something about trying to deal with both languages that really made my brain work.
Yeah,
and then when I
because
came,
you're
when I came back to the
making the
States and I was just
connections,
dealing
yeah.
with one language, it's like, oh, it's
Oh, okay,
kinda,
I can do this. Yeah.
well, I can do
yeah,
this, but it's also
yeah.
just kind of boring.
No,
it's
I
kind
know
of like,
what you mean,
yeah,
yeah.
Anyways, anything else? I see some cloth right here.
Yeah, actually, no, I was going to...
Oh, you gonna tell me something else first?
No, I can tell you about this.
all right.
Actually, this is kind of a precursor to what I'd like to do myself.
Uh-huh.
There is an outfit that you can upload your designs,
Uh-huh.
and they have the cloth made. It's an outfit called Vita, and they solicit artists to do that. But in the end, I'd really like to kind of do it myself. But this was a great way to get started. They have these made.
Okay.
So these are from either, blending of my photos. This
Right.
one is actually from a photo of, it was an interior, like light reflecting on walls and
Right.
stuff. And then I went crazy with it in Photoshop.
Right.
These are more from my monoprints.
Uh-huh.
So, it's just fun to see what you can do with that.
Right.
And then the same with, this is just a different color combination, and same with this one.
I really like that one.
Yeah,
I
this
like them
was
all,
the
but
first one. This was
I-
the first one I
really-
made, and
yeah.
I think the nice thing about this is the colors are really
Yeah.
rich.
Oh,
and
my
then
goodness.
I made this design,
Yeah.
which I kind of put on top of it.
Right.
In the
Oh my goodness. Wow.
yeah. So, the thing is, these are made. It's a little expensive for me to do it this way,
Right.
but it's fun to see it. And
Yeah.
I think my idea for what I'm going to do myself is they're going to be. These are huge. They're
Yeah.
really fun. The fabric is great. I love it.
Yeah.
And it drapes really nicely.
Yeah.
So, but I've found a source of fabric that I can print on, or paint on, or
Yeah.
both. And I'm probably going to make smaller ones. I like ones. I have one myself that it just you kind of like you sew it together so it's like a loop.
Yeah.
And then you can bring it back around, and
Yeah.
it'll hang nicely.
Right.
And I love that too. So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what I'm going to do, and I may even. It'll have a little bit different kind of detail
Yeah.
in the construction, but
Yeah.
so this is a great way to start. I'm really happy with it, and
Yeah.
we'll see where it goes from
Oh
here.
yeah.
But yeah,
no,
I'm really
no,
excited
no.
about it.
So
Yeah.
I can see myself buying them and
Yeah.
gifts. I see these
But
things.
they're great
and
gifts,
yeah.
yeah.
It just has gifts written all
Yeah,
over it.
yeah,
And
exactly.
so I'm gonna have to find out from you how to stay in touch with me so that
Yeah,
or
I'll
also
definitely
let
do that.
let the
Let
viewers
people know,
know.
yeah.
So that they can
Oh, well,
find it.
I'll
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry, I'll just.
And so
put
I'll
them-
put that at the end of the video. It'll be
Okay,
like,
that'd be
where,
great. Yeah.
where to get in touch with
Yeah.
you. And, so I see behind the cloth.
This.
well,
These.
yeah.
Yeah. No, these. Probably when I first started kind of doing more improvisatory, just messing around with paint. These were kinds of things that I would get these wood panels, And these two pair, I worked on this pair and then that pair. I worked
Right.
on them as pairs, but I would start out, putting some color down on the panel. And then I think these I tended to do with a palette knife instead
Right.
of a brush. So it's a little bit more free way to work because
Right.
you don't get so caught up on that, oh, I got to get that brush stroke in just the
Right.
right place. You just
Right.
start putting color down. And then this is the kind of work that it just starts taking on a life of its own because
Right.
you sort of instinctively do certain things and then you step back and say, oh, okay, now, geez, where am I going to go with this? And
Right.
what color, and then it just starts taking form. And I think, I don't know, I know I love like rock formations
Right.
or, I don't know, foliage and light behind it or waterfall type.
Yeah.
I mean, they all kind of remind me of an abstracted sort of, natural formations
Right.
or landscape type things, but you wouldn't think that immediately, but it has that sort of, I don't know, flow and just some of the shapes.
Well, so
Yeah.
to sound just a little wacky, given what you're wearing, the color schemes in it,
Oh, yeah, that's
it
true.
almost seems like an abstract self-photo,
That's true,
or
actually.
self-portrait.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. So it's like,
I'll put that as my...
well, it's like, it's
Yeah.
like kind of like in a sense the essence of me,
Right.
in here.
Yeah, well, that's so going back to your initial question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah,
So
so,
that's kind of what goes on every time I do that. So
Yeah,
I mean, I have other ones back here on the easel that were also other forms of playing around with,
Right.
just different colors and stuff. These
Right.
aren't necessarily finished; they were just sort of,
Right.
textures, and So this is often how I would start,
Right.
and then, and actually on this one, I added a little Venetian plaster to give it a little bit of kind of ancient wall look.
I got you.
Yeah, and then it's really fun to start adding things on top.
Right.
And yeah, so all those. One thing I haven't talked about yet, but I have to find it. One of the ways of printing that I've just started doing.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to keep the camera on
Okay.
while you look for it, and
Yeah.
I'll edit
It's
it out if
actually
it
in
seems
here,
appropriate.
yeah. I've started. It's related to the metal, but
Yeah.
I have.
Well,
There's ways of printing on, that's in relation to these up here, which I had made for me in California. But
these up here being which ones?
oh, the very top.
The very top, the
bigger
blue?
pieces.
The
yeah,
blue and
but
the-
they're dye-infused aluminum.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Really?
that's metal.
I have something at home.
Yeah.
It's like but it's like a guy took a photograph of a train track.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And going into a very vibrant sunset.
Right.
And I mean, I love the piece. I mean, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
cool.
again, it's actually very expensive to have those done.
Yeah.
But I took a workshop recently at the Eastman Museum in Rochester, given by a woman who she is after both of our hearts and exploring all sorts of materials and
Right.
ways of doing things, and she's constantly coming up with newer and better ways to get
Right.
images onto different surfaces.
Right.
And she has I don't know, like maybe a chemistry or whatever background.
Right, yeah.
So she understands the processes
Yeah, right.
and knows how to find the right people to talk about
Right.
the chemical makeup
Yeah.
of some of these things
Yeah.
that she concocts. But,
Because everyone from Eastman has to have a chemistry
yeah,
background,
that's
right?
for sure.
Yeah,
So, this is one of the things, I have a photograph, well, actually a montage that I've printed it onto a card. So this is a combination of a couple of my paintings and then designs that I collaged and digitally on top.
Right.
So it just made this scene that I really love. And so I printed that image onto a film that was specially coated to take the inkjet print, and then the metal itself had another coating on it, which had a metallic coloring added to it to give it that kind of gold look. And then with this special concoction of hers, you put it on and then you can put the film on top of it, and then it transfers. You take the film off and it transfers the image to the metal, and then it has a resin coating.
Nice.
Which is the shiny, but it's opening up a whole new world because
Right.
I'm wanting to, now I'm getting set up to be able to transfer my own photos and paintings and whatever,
Right.
onto metal surface.
Right.
So,
Cool.
yeah, I'm really excited about that. So
So
I probably won't be able to get into anything quite that big, but at least right now.
right.
But I'm really excited about doing
Yeah.
smaller.
So you get a taste of what your future
Yeah,
holds
exactly.
for you. So that's definitely setting the stage
Yeah,
for a follow-up interview.
right.
Whether it's in 6 months or a year
Yeah,
from now. I'm having such a good time
yeah, me
with this
too.
series. Meeting artists and getting to talk with them, and
Yeah,
and I get to follow up
yeah.
if it
Oh
seems like
yeah,
it's the
no,
right thing to do.
we'll be ready for you.
So unless there is something else that you specifically want to show me now, I'll wrap it up and then say,
Okay.
we'll meet
Yeah.
again.